Okay, good night, good morning, and thank you for having me. Let me dedicate these first moments just to have a check here if everyone is listening to me, if the broadcast is going. Okay, now I'm looking at. Thank you for the people that are listening me live here. Okay, I can see the sound, the connection. Hello, Phil. Phil, please, could you give me a feedback about my transmission? I'm doing these first moments just to have this kind of checks. Good to see you, Phil. You are great. You are awesome. Okay, I'll turn off the sound here. That's okay. Very good. Very good. So, for the ones that are listening to me live here, thank you, Phil. Now I got your feedback. Thank you. Okay, let's shake the online sidetrack here with some financials points. Okay, thank you for the people that are watching me live right now. I know most part of the world is very late. Only Americas here is almost is 20 to 9 p.m. and so Saturday night. It means, of course, during these days, people don't have many options in Saturday nights like before. However, people used to dedicate to family, and so just please come back and listen to and watch the recording. This is a live event. However, the live broadcast will be automatically recorded in the YouTube platform here of SAP Online Track. Hello, Fabiana from Brazil. Adia Varna, hi from US. Okay. Uh, let's go. Just this time, just to adjust some issues. It seems to be all right. Okay. Well, for the people that know me, people that doesn't know me, and this is my presentation. I am Marssel Vilaça, and I have 18 years experience in financials, and mostly I have worked with in financial side as financial coordinator in public sector, and I was warehouse management. I was procurement before. I could go to material management in beginning of my career, but I rather think in financials would be more suitable to me. It was 15 years working in SAP as a SAP FICO consultant. So in my SAP community, I used to be a lot of frequent here, and since 2007, I am participating in SAP community, posting blogs, and mostly commenting in the threads or forums. Now is question answer. And so I became a SAP community active member since commenting from forums mostly. And I'm also a SAP Mentor alumni since 2014. I was nominated. I spent 5 years as SAP Mentor, such as I started to promote and participate in a lot of SAP community events, such as SAP Sidetracks, SAP Meetups, and so on. And this is a good opportunity to meet all of you people in person. This is an amazing experience being person shaking hands. Oh, looking here, Fabiana Bacon. Fabiana Bacon was a speaker in SAP Inside Track Rio de Janeiro, and that was a pleasure. Met her in person. Very, very, very competent person. And Phil Cooley, we met together in Las Vegas last year. Unfortunately, the event would not take place this year as on-site event, but maybe next year we have opportunity to see each others. And so what I mean, I recommend all of you participate and promote the local community events always. And such as SAP Online Track. SAP Online Track's a fabulous idea, inspired the Brazilian event in using also lives in YouTube. That was live inside Track in Brazil. It was inspired in SAP Online Track. It was released before the date of the Brazilian event, and this was a successful event. Such SAP Online Track is also outstanding. It's been very great. People is following, the crowd is following this event. And this is the first time that we have a global event in SAP community, mostly SAP Sidetrack. We have some local events, okay? So I emphasize that I strongly recommend you to promote and participate in SAP Inside Tracks. If you can, you could organize an event also. Know more about SAP Inside Tracks events in the main page of the SAP community. So I used to organize a lot of editions in SAP Inside Tracks, 28 per my accounts, but everyone has it's a pleasure. It's a particular pleasure. Okay, so this is my QR code of the SAP community profile, and now I'm going to talk about what's new in S4HANA Finance 1909. So it's related to the SAP S4HANA on-premise. I used to release a lecture like this every release of the SAP S4HANA on-premise. This is very important to people who understand what is new. And in my perspective, I am a perspective SAP consultant. I used to deal only with the customizing settings and some new transaction codes and something like this. It's also, I can say, it's also an overview, okay? I will show the screens that this is not a demonstration. Of course, a demonstration, we have a less quantity of topics. Here, we have a lot of topics here. Maybe I will go after 40 minutes, maybe 1 hour, I can discuss all of this. And so if you want to follow some demonstration events, keep in mind that I used to post my other sessions in local events and other events in my YouTube channel. You can find me on my community profile here. Okay, let's talk about S4HANA Finance 1909. First of all, the components we are going to talking about here is financials regarding in SAP ECC, general ledger, account payable, account receivable, and some part of banks. I will explain how is the change related banks in SAP right now. And new assets accounting, treasury, tax service, taxes, understand the taxes like fiscal and legal requirements. We have some changes here. And cost controlling. Cost controlling is very important to reporting and to control cost of production and so on. It's very important for the company in managerial accounting. Okay. As for HANA versus SAP ECC, we have a lot of enhancement. Just to let you know, I know the audience here is not only composed by people who understand 1809 release or previous releases of S4HANA, but people that is based right now in SAP ERP. It means I have prepared something to you to attend people that has no knowledge in S4HANA. As I am talking about 1909, of course, mainly the changes here regards only 1909, but I will talk also the most important things related as for HANA on-premise as itself, such as Universal Journal and so on that came with S/4HANA since the beginning of the releases, right? This, as I have told here, just to attend people that has knowledge only in SAP ERP level. All right. So when we talk about S/4HANA, of course, we have to talk about Fiori. Fiori is the new user experience, is the main component here in S/4HANA to impact the business side. Okay, when the customer adopts the S/4HANA, the customer thinks, oh, what I can get the most from this new system in my business perspective. And what I mean, we have to deliver a new solution. And to have the face of the new solution, we have to show a better experience, a better usage of the transactions in SAP. Less clicks, less screens to reach the same result. And Fiori is here for this. And right now, in 1909 release, we have a connection to Fiori 3. Okay, Fiori 3 is a brand new release of Fiori that's enable the Fiori be based as a front end in ABAP also. Fiori used to be connected with Wi-Fi and also in ABAP since from the 1909. Okay. So Fiori is very important. Okay, what's new? Let's go. Let's go talk about in financial perspective first. Just to beginning to talk about financials, what I have discussed before here, financials regards cost controlling, financials, assets accounting, treasury, and fiscal. So for every component that I have mentioned here, we have to take the understanding on the Universal Journal. Table ACDOC-A. This table is the connection of all records from general ledger, profitability analysis, management accounting is the cost controlling, assets accounting, material ledger into the same table. So it's the physical understanding of the FICO table. Okay, this table is stored physically in a database. Okay, and is one of the most impacted transformation and changes in S/4HANA on-premise since the SAP ERP. The architecture of the postings has drastically changed for the better, I mean. Okay. Regarding 1909, we have new apps that show the posting, the posting documents. SAP, I used to say SAP's ERP, it was very difficult to be understood in accounting perspective. For accountants, to understand the document postings, let me check here. I'm not seeing my screen change a lot. Let's see. Let me adjust here. I'm following my presentation and some slide has not changed. Okay, here in the broadcast it seems to be okay. Let me adjust this camera background. Put presentation mode. Okay, right here. Let me do some changes here. Let me do my adjusts. Okay, I will decrease here and stretch a little the screen. Let me ok, configurar a apresentação. Okay, fine. Looks to be okay right now. Okay, this is here. Finally. Okay, let me get back a little here just to show what I was showing here, the presentation. I was talking about here in finance perspective. Okay, the Universal Journal is this screen that I was going to show. As I have commented here, EC DOCA is the table, the main table, concatenating all the records from general ledger, profitability, management accounting, assets accounting, and material ledger. Okay. After this, I was discussing here about the new apps that help accountants to understand better the accounting postings. When we discuss in SAP ERP, we had postings described in posting keys. For example, posting key 31 is vendor credit. Posting key 01 is customer debt. So for an accountant that has lacky understanding of SAP and it has had no meaning. So far in 1909 we have applications that show the document postings in some kind of T accounting view. T accounting is accounting rule that is easier to understand what the posting means. We have a T account in the left side and the right side for debt and credit respectively. So it really helps and all the accountants to understand what the document posting really means. Okay. Rutivik is online. Rutivik, say my hi from Brazil for you. You are the next, right? You are the next presenter. Have a great session after me. This is the posting flow. This is an amazing solution. It's a new app. It's working only for 1909. And right now, we are going to have a much better understanding for accounting postings in business side. Okay. Another change is regarding credit limits. Okay, when you're selecting, this is a screen from business partner. Just to understand, to let you understand, business partner is the new master data in S4HANA. Business partner is not a new master data actually, but it came from since CRM, DRM, then business partner is existing master data in S4HANA ERP. However, in S4HANA right now, SAP ERP, in S4HANA, business partner is a mandatory master data, and it's going to replace vendor and customers. So everyone have to deal with this. Regarding here credit limits, we have all the maintenance that came from some settings in SAP ERP. We are here within the BP, the transaction code is BP, and means business partner. When you select the business partner role here, SAP Credit Manager, you activate immediately at your business partner screen this credit profile to fill, for example, risk, okay, risk group. Regarding credit limit, we have to use the same business partner role and select over there the option for credit management. So no more, you no longer has the FD32. FD32 was a transaction code able to set credit limits. It's no longer active here in S4HANA since a lot of the release from now on. Okay. This is the way you set credit limits. You select the credit segment, and this is over there. Foreign currency valuation. So we have some changes about foreign currency valuation, especially here when we regarding the valuation area, and now is connected at the customizing level with the account principles. And so we have to define account principles in foreign currency valuation. What we had before? Before S4HANA, we had the ledger. UGL provide you ledgers, and ledgers will be associated here, attached here to the methods of currency valuation. And so this is the way it used to be before S4HANA. Right now, we have valuation area with the maintenance of the methods attached to, assigned to accounting principle. Accounting principle must be defined also to a particular ledger to be stored at a CDOCA Universal Journal. Universal Journal doesn't store the accounting principle, only ledger as usual. I have advanced here, but I will go back a little to explain more about FAGL. In a further moment here in this presentation, I'm going to talk about the simulation ledger regarding predictive ledgers. Simulation ledger is a new ledger that works for foreign currency valuation just to predict the amount to be posted at the general ledger level. This is a new tool regarding since the 1809 and has some improvements here in 1909. I will talk further. Types of ledgers. Just to have a brief view, what kind of ledgers do you have? Leading ledger is the main ledger, and secondary ledger is another parallel control of document postings that is not from the leading ledger. Predictive analysis that I have mentioned here use extension ledger. We have appendix, simulation, prediction, and commitments just to see purchase order and sales order postings, predictive postings at the general ledger level, like I said. Okay, we have ledger groups. We have a maintenance to create ledger groups. We group some ledgers to post automatically in multiple postings, okay, in multiple documents. And we have automatic ledger group. Once we create a single ledger in SAP, automatically the system creates the same ledger as a group. So if you create a secondary ledger, for example, the ledger S2, the system will create S2 as a group of ledger. This is standard. Here we have currencies, 10 currencies available. If you go SAP ERP, OB22 is the transaction code to define currencies under a company code. Right now, using S4HANA, you have 10 currencies available. Okay. Business partner, I have briefed a business partner when I discussed with about credit. So this is the main function of a business partner is BP role, business partner role. Now we have more options regarding business partner because using the BP role, we can have the same numbering in same record with a general information just to just to distributing better the usage of that business partner. For example, we can have business partner as a vendor, as a company, like as a bank, okay? And so we have a real estate agents using business partner. So we can store everything under the same numbering. We don't need to create multiple master data to perform multiple functions right now. Credit limits, FD32 is obsolete here. We have to use a business partner function or role, UKM000 to define credit limits. Okay. Credit risk, we activate credit risk when you use this BP role in credit profile. Okay. Now we reached the screen related predictive accounting. This is a very good tool. I have showed before to a customer this predictive accounting in S4HANA. He was not interested in know more about this, but I recommend all consultants have a deeply look on this to provide a good experience for customer. That case, really, that was no usage for this, but this is a very interesting tool. We can have the option to predict values from many parts of the business in FIGL level. Okay, the accountant can see, for example, a simulation of the foreign currency valuation before postings. We can have postings, just to predictive postings that are really real postings stored in ACDOCA, but is stored in a different ledger. Okay, you can look over there. We have two examples here. Ledger type extension ledger. We have ledger 0C, 0E. These two ledgers are defined here as a predictive ledgers. Okay. And so this is not the main ledger that we use to report to the group, to do a consolidation report, statutory report. However, it's a ledger for management analysis. Okay, it's a very important tool. Regarding 1909, we have some changes here. For example, in SD documents categories, regarding SD documents, we have only that kind of categories available. For example, we don't have this predictive analysis available for a kind of third-party direct shipment document, and the intercompany sales, also we don't have this. We don't have also for services sales scenarios, okay, and the statistical sales conditions. We don't have this available in 1909 for predictive accounting. The connection, the conversion to SAP ERP to S4HANA was described as a migration, but when we regard migration, we are talking about data loading, okay? And this tool is regarding this kind of data. We use the methodology ETL, extract, transform, load here. And LTMC is the new transaction code that will bring new stuffs that in comparison with the previous on LSMW. This is the new LSMW, if you can say like this, okay? And we have the LTMOM just as a legacy data transfer modeler, okay? Just come back to this slide. I have told after every release we have new objects, migration objects available. And 1909 we have even more objects available since the previous release, okay? Let's go to controlling right now. Regarding controlling here, the main impacts is the cost element. As we have the ACDOCA as a universal journal, we have all documents from FI and CO in the same record, same table. So because this, we have some improvements on the master data of general ledger accounting. It's not necessary to have a different transaction code. KA09 was the cost element transaction code, and all the features and fields from KA09 is now available for for parameterization in FS00. We have also some difference here. We have the 4 options for accounting types. Before master data of general ledger account, we had the options for balance sheet account or profit and loss account. Right now we have the option for balance sheet and the 3 options for profit and loss account. For example, non-operating expense is a kind of postings that does not receive a cost collector. We have primary cost that came from FI to CO, and we have secondary costs. Now secondary costs in S4HANA is general ledger accounting master data. It's not used like this before. Okay, this is another postings. Okay, the FS00 there. But we are talking about here about budget availability control for cost center. This is a brand new solution for 1909. Now we have tolerance limits for account groups. In general ledger master data account groups, so we can define at the customizing level some tolerance limits for budget. Okay. We had a very good presentation about this topic. We had very good topics in SAP community, and that was a live presentation from Sai Krishna in Live Inside Track Brazil, and he has demonstrated how to maintain at the customizing level this budget availability control, and using Fiori apps, he managed to post with using tolerance limit or not. That was a very interesting demonstration. I recommend you have a quick check over there. If you need some links or some guidance to find this presentation, reach me using my profile here, my information, and I will be glad to guide you over there. Material ledger activations. This is another polemic topic because not all countries use material ledger, okay? Material ledger is mainly used here in Brazil. We have actual cost here, and many countries has material ledger for standard costs. So the activation of material ledger doesn't impact in what kind of cost your company adopt, okay? Actual cost is optional, for example. You can do the all maintenance of material ledger generally, and at the material master data you can use the controlling tags over there to define what kind of cost that material is going to adopt, okay? And so don't be afraid to activate a material ledger. The cost adoption is regarding another definition of that. But as a technical activation is mandatorily. Now we are forced to activate material ledger in every installation of S/4HANA on-premise. Okay, uh, BPC. Now BPC is another options to plan indirect costs. Okay, we have new cost on goods sales. This COGS account is very important. It's a very important process, and we have a option for new splitting. Okay, this is another new solution here in S4HANA. Regarding here cost based, we have here two options. We have account based and you have cost based. Account based, we have to define general ledger accounts to store this cost. Now let's go to new assets accounting. Assets accounting is a component of financials that has a lot of changes in this new release 1809 in 1909. We have a lot of stuff to discuss about new assets accounting. However, I could not discuss about all features of the component. I have selected the main points here regarding organizational structure and so on. So multiples depreciation area. Previously, we had only one main depreciation area. Right now, we have the new configuration here for the accounting principle. So regarding accounting principle, because this we can define uh, real posting depreciation area per accounting principle. Okay, this is a very brand new regarding S/4HANA on-premise stuff of the new assets accounting. Is the main characteristic of the model. Okay, generally accepted accounting principles. So right now the depreciation areas is assigned to accounting principle, and each accounting principle are independent postings in real time. So the main point of this is to grant that all consolidated report are going to be ready to be posted. Okay, after the acquisition, transfer, scrap, asset scrap, and depreciation monthly. Architecture of the document postings. We have here a technical clearing accounting now. When we acquire new assets, we post credit in a vendor and a debt in acquisition account. Right now in S/4HANA, we have a clearing account, a technical clearing account. This clearing account is responsible to transfer the post from the auxiliary ledger, subledger, into the every accounting principle defined in the system. Okay, because this we have this technical clearing accounting. New depreciation run. We have here a new application to be able to do the depreciation run. Okay, this application do a lot of roles here. Depreciation run is one of them. We can recalculate depreciation, we can do the year-end closing activities, and we can do the segment reporting here. So we have an application that share the same tools with several usage of the new assets accounting. Okay, the new depreciation run. The main characteristic of a new depreciation run, before S/4HANA, we had a depreciation posting splitted by cost center and general ledger. Right now, the depreciation postings is at the master fixed asset master data level. Okay, we can precisely check which amount per month was posted in that particular assets accounting, asset master records. For example, during a depreciation run, we have a lot of fixed assets over there. Then if you pick up only one assets, one item, check the number, we have stored in the table the document posted. the right amount posted for that asset. And this is the very good news stuff in new depreciation run. We have right now the amount posted at the asset master data level. Before, we had no idea what kind of item was posted there because that was a merge of the amount into account and cost center. Data migration, we have a lot of changes regarding data migration in assets accounting. OACV, that transaction that posted, used to post the migration amount to the general ledger regarding fixed assets, and this is obsolete right now. We have only AS 1901 to create the master data for migration, and right now we have a BLDT, asset takeover values is now in new transaction code, okay? The BAPA fixed asset takeover create is available to create reports, and if you create a new report to do the data migration, okay for you. I don't recommend to create a new report during the project, right? If you are in a project and need to do the data migration, the best recommendation is to copy this report from another installation, because it used to have some technical issues that it may not be enabled to be handled during the project schedule, okay? The best solution for this is to use LTMC to load fixed asset master data. LTMC is fine to do that. Closing activities, AG-RW is obsolete, and FAGL, GVTR, and AGAB is now the transaction code. AGAB, it's used before, is the transaction responsible to close the current year, and the FEGL, GVTR is the transaction that open the initial amounts, right? The beginning of the year must be opened by this transaction. Without this, we don't have a system prepared to acquire assets. Treasury. There's a very good point here in treasury. Banks right now is handled in treasury, and the new bank account management, new bank account here. We had NWBC, the transaction in WebD Pro, the transaction that you use in SAP GUI that let you go to WebD Pro to maintain the bank accounts. You can also do that using Fiori. This is the screen of the Fiori apps. is more clear. This is a Fiori apps, Fiori 3 apps right now, and the new Fiori, and it's easier to fill the maintenance here. We have more space than in the NWBC. Okay. One more bank account here. One more connectivity path just to store the banks. Okay. Skipping the bank's configurations, we have here new cash flows. FF7A, FF7B, it was used in SAP ERP, and right now, yes, for HANA, we have FF7AN and FF7BN. However, those transaction codes are incomplete. Those transactions have some restriction about some usage. For example, down payments is not reflected there. Another point, the recommendation of FACP is don't use cash flows in SAP GUI, use only Fiori for cash flows. We have here the two apps, Cash Flow Analyzer and Cash Flow Item, and this is the recommended solution for cash flows here. Okay. Still regarding cash flows, we have important information here. the financial information is no longer recorded in that table. The table is FQM underscore flow. We have to run the transactional data here using FQM initialize. What this means? Every postings in accounting that should be displayed using cash flow is no longer available until you run that FQM initialize. You have to run this transaction every time you need to display the cash flow. And this is not automated, right? And just to finish here, I just passed 5 minutes, but no problem. If there's a lot of people here from Brazil, regarding fiscal obligation, we have new CAP transaction code. CAP is regarding an assets accounting process. We have a kind of tax for goods and service that the government in a particular rule permits that company recover this tax paid. So we can recover the tax. It allows the company to pay less tax. Okay, this is the new transaction code only for 1909. Regarding fiscal side, we have fiscal reports available for XML files. The main characteristic of S4HANA regarding Brazilian localization is that fiscal reports is no longer available. And so right now, 1909 permits the REINF report and contributions reports. The kind of well-known reports in Brazil for fiscal side. Okay, only for 1909. And tax service in ACR as a tool to provide reports of fiscal obligations. Regarding the point taxes service, we have in Brazil J1B tax, and the word is the FTXP. Those are transactions to define VAT. VAT as a tax of the operation. When we post outgoing invoice or incoming invoices, we use the VAT to define what kind of tax are going to be charged in the profit and loss accounting. So taxes services is a tool that came since 1809, release of S4HANA, that you hire a supplier, an external supplier, you hire the service to do an interface amongst systems. It means your company, you will be interfaced in an external vendor, external supplier, to collect the tax calculation. And so this is the idea of this. Many business installations prefer stay using the current customizing, instead hire a service from a supplier, since in a lot of countries the taxes rules is very unstable and changes a lot along the year, and so this is a kind to be discussed. Another point is to understand what is the performance of this interface. We already have here, as an example, in Brazil, outgoing invoice is a kind of a customer invoice, and that we have an interface with the government to validate the customer invoice. So this is a time-consuming process. In some parts of some projects, this kind of tool gets some time to be accomplished at the time. So I recommend investigate better the performance of this new interface here. And ACR is ACR. We have in Brazil a kind of TDF. This is a tool, a model component that provides a lot of fiscal reports, fiscal obligation reports. ACR is getting popular because it's available around the world. We have a particular ACR here in Brazil, and it's a kind of double component because we have ACR Brazil and TDF also to provide reports for fiscal obligations. Okay, this is all. I spent 10 minutes more, but if anybody here, I think we have people watching. If anybody here has some questions, I'm available here to answer through the top chat. Okay. Else, if everyone want to contact me, here is my QR code. Just hitting this or make some search using my name at the internet. I'm very active in LinkedIn and SAP community. Feel free to drop me a message and then I can comment some topics of this presentation or some other questions if you may have. Okay? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for you that is late of the night watching me here. And so see you around.